And today's topic that I said was going to be very special, I'm going to be speaking on my VBAC.
I would do anything for you, only a heartache. Never let no one before you. Don't let this fade away. And I will write flatline skies if it means more you. No matter where we go, I got you like in your dark. And if I'm dreaming, let me sleep. I don't want your love to leave.
For those of you who don't know, that is a vaginal birth after cesarean. I had two after having 2 C-sections. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I had 2 cesarean sections, one with DJ, one with Maya. So I'm going to start off with telling you about my cesarean. With DJ, I had just turned 19 and my pregnancy with him was pretty hectic. I had kidney infections back to back and I was in the hospital, like literally for my baby shower. I checked myself out the hospital to go to my baby shower because my sister had came from Philly, and literally when she left, I was right back in the hospital. DJ was due on November 5th, but because of kidney infections, they were going to induce me on November 4th. So it was a normal day. Didn't eat. They can't find his heart rate. Checked into the hospital. Literally, so me knowing my baby and how my 20 minutes of getting to our room after checking in and stuff for my induction. Let me drink some juice. Let me get up and walk around. They hook you up to monitors. They put me on the monitors and like they can't find his heart rate. Mind you, I just had an appointment the day before. Everything was fine. Drunk some juice. Sat up. I'm feeling him kick, but I have no knowledge of how to read those medical screens in a hospital room. So I'm feeling him kicking and stuff. He seems up to me. They're like his heart rate is low. So now it's been another 20 minutes. Now it's 40 minutes we've been in our room. They come back and they're telling me I'm gonna have to have an emergency C-section right now. Baby's heart rate is too low. Mind you, my whole day has been going good. Like DJ's been asleep. He's been kicking. Like, my whole day's been going good. But now I'm in the hospital ready to be induced, and they're telling me my baby's damn near dead. They can't find no heart rate. So, of course, me being young and scared, I called my mom. My mother-in-law was there. And the doctor literally came in the room, and I quote word for word, said, "You can let us cut you right now, or you could go home and let your baby die." Darius did not like that. Darius was like, he can't talk to her like that. He making her scared. My mom felt like it was bull crap. My mother-in-law was just like, you gotta do what's safe. You gotta do what's best. So, of course, I was terrified, bro, because they didn't even let Darius go back there with me. I was all by myself with the nurses, and they gave me that big-ass needle in my spine, bro. It was so freaking scary. Like, I was by myself. I was crying. I couldn't have my mom. I couldn't have Darius. I'm getting emotional just think about it. It was so sad because, like, I really did not want a C-section. It was my first baby. I wanted to push my baby out. I didn't know what was going on. Nothing was explained to me, and now I'm alone. But eventually, like, I'm so out of it because everything happened so fast. I don't remember a lot of things. Eventually, Darius was there in the room, and me and him were holding the baby. And that's that one picture that I have of DJ being handed to me in the delivery room or operating room. And then, like, I remember blacking out. Next time I remember waking up, I think I was feeding the baby. I had videos of Darius holding the baby, of holding DJ when he was being prepped and stuff. And I was just laid out, like, not there. The next time I remember waking up was the next morning. And I remember looking at DJ and being so in awe because he looked just like me. I seen my mom, I seen me, and me and my mom weren't on good terms like that at the time. So it made me really emotional because it's like I really created this baby and he looks just like me. Like, oh my gosh, I was so in love. It was crazy, man. That's DJ's birth story. That was my first C-section. And then with Maya, It was the same thing, except hers was a scheduled C-section because I had DJ through C-section. What I can say is the recovery for my second C-section went way smoother because I knew what to expect. Like when I got home with DJ, Darius was working overnight, and I thought I was going to be able to do everything by myself. Baby, I was calling him back home on his breaks. My mom was over there. I couldn't cough. It hurt to sit up. It hurt to breastfeed him. Everything hurt. Like, I couldn't laugh. Everything hurt. It hurt to sneeze, anything. Every time I stood up or tried to move, it felt like my insides, it felt like I was being stabbed, like the most sharpest pain you would ever feel in your stomach. Maya, it was a little bit better because my C-section went smooth. I checked in. They put the shot in me, the numbing cream. I got the shot on my back, laid down, had her. I remember because it was so easy, and when she came out, she was so red. I don't know, Maya changes colors a lot, but then as we was in the hospital, she started turning white. I'm like, this baby was born. She was born super red, you guys. And then by like day 2 or 3, she was like super light bright. And then she got dark again, and she got light again. Now she's brown. With Saya's pregnancy, I knew from the get-go, I was not having another C-section. I did all my research on VBACs. I joined a VBAC support group on Facebook. And I really just wanted to find how to have a VBAC in Tampa. USF/TGH is VBAC friendly in Tampa, Florida. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. They considered me a candidate for VBAC. They did, I forget the name of the test, but they did the test where they see your chances of having a successful VBAC. And I think they said I was at like 82%, and you have to be above a 67. So they kept talking to me about my scar. They asked for my records from why I had a C-section to begin with, right? Craziest thing ever. They reviewed my records. Nothing stated that my baby's heart rate was low. Also, they even said that DJ had pooped in me, had wrapped himself up in the umbilical cord. These are the things that they were telling me after I delivered DJ. However, when I had Saya and they asked for my medical records for why I had a C-section, nothing in my medical records indicated low heart rate, the baby was wrapped up in the umbilical cord, or meconium was present at time of birth. Nothing indicated that. They couldn't find a reason why I had a C-section. And of course, Maya's was a repeat because of the first one. So anyways, so they was like, your scar is fine. I'm good to deliver. How am I prepped for my VBAC? Because I've never delivered a baby before. And I never went to labor on my own before. I was induced with DJ, turned into a C-section, and induced with Maya, or scheduled C-section with Maya. So I had the red raspberry leaf tea. I started drinking that at probably 35 weeks, like every day. By the time I was like 38, 39 weeks, I was making the I forgot what they call it, but it's like just pure red raspberry leaf tea with like 24 bags of tea, trying to go into labor. I drank a boiled onion broth. I was doing all these crazy things to try to go into labor. I was using my ball, the little bouncy ball. I was bouncing. I was doing hip rocks. I was going back and forth. Me and Darius was getting in, trying to get that baby out, trying to get him to come on his own. And then I lost my mucus plug is what happened. I lost my mucus plug and I started bleeding, but my water didn't break. So they sent me home, and that was like January 23rd. That was when Kobe passed. Let his soul rest in peace. I remember that day. And then finally I went in to be induced again on February 1st. So this was 2/1/2020. I went in to be induced. This lady, oh God, I wish I would have took down everybody's names. I did at the time, but I misplaced it. This lady comes in the room. Mind you, I just checked into my room to be induced. She comes in the room. She checks my cervix. Oh, it's completely closed. Because when I just went into false labor a couple days ago, they literally just told me that I was 1 centimeter dilated. So now it's 4 or 5 days later and you're telling me it's closed? I don't know if that can happen, but I didn't believe it. And so then they were going to give me a Foley bulb to induce me. And she's like, we can't give you a Foley bulb if your cervix is closed. So then we're going back and forth. And Jerry tried to interject to ask some questions to get some understanding if there was any other ways they can induce me. And she goes, I'm not going to argue with you. At that point, I was in tears. I was ready to go home because I felt like they were trying to force another C-section, which she said, we can't induce you. We're going to have to give you a C-section because at this point, I was 40. So I was due on January 23rd. I was 41 weeks and a couple days, like 4 days. So they were like, you cannot go home. Like, you have to deliver your baby. Your baby's going to die, of course. All the evil shit that they try to tell you when you're pregnant. Nope. I wasn't hearing it, bro. When I tell you I was manifesting this VBAC, I had sticky notes all on my vision board. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I took the evening primrose oil pills. I was putting O's up me since like 38 weeks. I was doing what I was supposed to do. There's no way. So then I went home, checked myself out against medical advice, went to my mother-in-law's house, had a good little dinner, and then I went back to the hospital the next day. And I called my provider, who's VBAC friendly, from USF, because, you know, they be having different doctors on call. And I let her know what they did. And she was like, what? Oh, my God. She was so shocked. So she called TGH in advance and let them know that I was coming in. So this is now February 2nd. I went back around 7 p.m., checked me in. Then, let's see. They got me hooked up on everything. It was like 11. Because I was trying to have my baby on 2/2020 because my mom's birthday is 2/22. So it didn't work out that way because he came on February 3rd. But we ended up getting a Foley bulb inserted. The contractions were coming consistently. I was able to take the pain till about 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, I went from 11 p.m., I believe. And then, like, I believe my water broke because I was like, why am I wet? Like, did I pee myself? And it was like, no, your water broke. And at that point, I was like 4 centimeters dilated. Then I don't really remember the story. I know I posted it on Facebook, but Saya's birth, right now, I'm trying to remember all my birth stories. But I just remember I ended up getting the epidural, and it's because the contractions were like so intolerable. They had me on Pitocin, and they had it up at like a 16, I believe. Like, they just kept increasing the Pitocin, and the contractions were so unbearable. Like, I could not stop moaning and groaning and humming and doing my birthing ball and trying different positions. None of that stuff was working. So at this point, I was over it. Give me the epidural. I got the epidural and I went to sleep. Like, I legit went to sleep. And then I remember the contractions started getting stronger like around 11 o'clock, even though I was on the epidural. I was pressing the button and nothing was happening. It was still hurting. I'm like, oh man, nah, he's coming. He's coming. I remember, like, I felt something move from my back through my booty, and I was like lifting up. I was like, oh my gosh, something is coming. And so then they checked me, the nurses checked me, and they were like, oh, she's at an 8, and then another strong contraction. I'm pressing the button. They're like, you just press the button, it's not gonna come anymore. I'm like, bro, I felt it, but not as bad as it was with Amir. It did not, like, I felt pressure. It was just the pressure of him coming down. I knew he was coming out. Saya was out, and like, I want to say 4 or 5 pushes and 30 minutes of pushing. That was the first baby I pushed out. I don't know, like, the feeling was like euphoric. Like, I did it. Like, oh my gosh, I was so in love with him as well. He was 7 pounds and 8 ounces, and he came out. The first thing he did, open his eyes, look up, and latch on. You can see how big my baby is. You know, the first thing he did when he came out was eat. Like, and then with Amir, which was my recent pregnancy, I was supposed to do a home birth. And what happened was, honestly, I chickened out. But before I chickened out, things happened with the provider that I was using. And I just didn't feel like her care was adequate enough. Like, I'm doing a home birth. COVID's going on. I don't want to be in a hospital because I'm hearing you have to deliver with a mask on. I'm hearing all these crazy things about delivery because of COVID. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to deliver at home. But mind you, this lady, she's making home visits and stuff. And I did not feel like the level of care that you receive in the hospital during your pregnancy. Maybe it's because it was my first home birth. I should have did more research to see if like the things she was doing was normal. But I just felt like she wasn't really paying attention to me. I didn't feel comfortable or safe with her delivering my baby at home. God forbid anything went wrong. So the day of delivery, he was really overdue. I was really miserable at the end of my pregnancy. Like, all my babies being here, baking, don't want to leave me. He came at, I believe, darn near 42 weeks. They kept switching up my due date. When I first found out I was pregnant with him, they told me June 25th. When I started going to this lady, she told me June 1st. And then she told me June 8th. And it was just too many dates. I didn't know when his baby was coming. Towards the end, I was miserable. He ended up coming on June 5th. But what happened with him is I lost my mucus plug. So my last day was Thursday, June 3rd. Friday, I didn't work. And we went out to eat. We did some shopping. I did some walking. I walked around my community. And then the kids stayed with my mom because we were supposed to go to the hospital that night. We went to the hospital that night. TGH has a new rule. They do not induce VBACs. A waste of my damn time. So we had to come all the way back home. Literally, we went to the hospital at like, 2 o'clock in the morning. They was like, they don't do VBACs. Wasted my time. So then that morning or through the middle of the night, I was watching the 85 South show, just laughing, keeping my spirits up. And I remember I was eating some wings and I lost my mucus plug. So I'm like, So I went back downstairs. Mind you, I was doing everything you was supposed to do with Dion. Like when I was pregnant with him, I had a peanut ball. I had a regular ball. I was sleeping with the peanut ball between my legs. I was bouncing on the ball. I was drinking the tea, using the pills, having sex, doing everything to get him out because I was so miserable. I was walking up and down the stairs multiple times a day, walking around the neighborhood, just really trying to get that baby out of me, man. I was so miserable. I was so freaking huge. I was 218 pounds. The biggest I've ever been in my life, bro. I was miserable. But what happened was after I lost my mucus plug, I came back down the stairs and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm feeling myself leaking. And like every time I move, I'm leaking. So I'm like, my water broke. Or it's breaking, it's leaking. So I'm calling around. I called TGH. I'm like, okay, you said if I go into labor on my own, then I'm good. So they was like, you're right. So, but I had to be in active labor for them to admit me. So they kept me in a admitting room. I walked around the room watching the 85 South show. And as I'm walking around, I'm leaking fluids. And then eventually my contractions started picking up. Darius was rubbing my back. I was hunched over, literally rocking back and forth, humming through it. So then once they checked me, I believe I was at 6 centimeters. They moved me into the delivery room. Bro. It happened so quick. I didn't want to sit down. I didn't want to lay in the bed because as the more I walked, the more I moved around, the more the contractions kept coming. So man, it happened so fast. I remember one contraction ripped through me so bad. I was hunched over on the floor. Blood started dripping. I got scared because I'm like, why am I bleeding? Why is there blood coming out? It's like, it's okay. The baby's coming. It's okay. So they wanted me to get in the bed. They wanted me to, get ready to push and stuff. I asked for some meds because, actually I asked for epidural. The epidural, they could not get it in because I was in too much pain. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. That shit was hurting so bad. Every contraction I had to push. They're like, stop pushing. Every contraction was bearing down. I had to push. And as I'm pushing, I'm screaming because they're putting their fingers in me. They're trying to tell me to do X, Y, Z. And the baby is literally coming out of me. And they're not freaking trying to help me. They're trying to do all this extra shit, bro. I was so irritated. So I just remember they gave me 1 dose of fentanyl. And that next contraction that came, cool. Okay, now I could calm down. Right after that. Boom. Right after that. Boom. So now I'm in the bed. They're like, can you lay down? I don't want to lay down because I'm literally bent over like this on the bed. And they want me to be like this on the bed. I didn't want to do that. That did not feel natural to me. First of all, I wanted to deliver my baby. I wanted to deliver my baby. So now I'm laid back on my side with my leg up. And they're like, okay, we need you to lay on your back. Lay on your back. Man, all I know is they said we see his head. They was telling me to push. So I'm pushing. And once the head comes out, you're supposed to slow down so that you don't tear. Ring of fire, ladies. Ring of fire. Once that head is there and you are stretched, you feel that stretch. And you just want that baby out so that your shit can stop being stretched. Like, you want that to be like that again, because you feel that head there, and it's like burning, like literally burning. So I just was pushing. I pushed so freaking hard. Oh my gosh. And then he just popped out. And that baby was 8 pounds and 10 ounces. The biggest baby I've ever freaking delivered. Because DJ was 6'12", Maya was 6'2", Saya was 7'8". He was 8'10", delivered naturally, no meds. But yeah, that's my VBAC stories. So if you want a VBAC and you're in Tampa, I say you do your research. Go to USF, deliver at Tampa General, be very patient with them, do your research, know what you're expecting, know how to stand your ground, because fear mongering, whatever they do is real. Trying to talk into a C-section, all that stuff is real. I would say drink your red raspberry leaf tea, get you a peanut ball, a regular yoga ball. I keep calling them bouncing balls. Get you a regular yoga ball, do some stretching, some walking, do some stairs. Your baby will come on his own time, and a VBAC is possible after C-sections. Don't let these doctors tell you that your uterus is gonna burst. Don't let them tell you you're trying to kill your baby. Don't let them tell you none of that shit, bro, because if you feel like you can do it, you can do it, period. Manifest it, claim it, and you can make it happen. But thanks for coming and watching another video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because I am going to be doing another video for my VBACs. And I'm going to be giving out all the information that I kind of just skipped over in here, as far as all the things that you can take for your VBAC, different positions, just showing other moms who's currently pregnant, things that you can do to help your birth after cesarean go a little bit more easier. Thank you for watching.